Global stocks tumbled Thursday as markets digested Donald Trump's big reveal on tariffs. A day earlier, the US president set out sweeping new levies that exceeded most expectations.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. Waiting for a long time.
Trump set a minimum 10% tariff on most imports, with much higher rates on some countries. The move sparked an immediate sell-off, with Nasdaq futures falling 4%. Some $760 billion was wiped off the value of the so-called Magnificent Seven big tech stocks in US after-hours trade. Among them, Apple, which makes iPhones in China, down nearly 7%. The slide then rolled on in Asian trade Thursday. In Japan, hit with a 24% tariff, the Nikkei index was down around 3% by mid-morning. Hong Kong's Hang Seng fared slightly better, down around 1.5%, with techs also hit hard there. Computer maker Lenovo was off about 5% early on. Markets have been roiled for weeks by Trump's on-off approach to tariffs. Now Delaware University economist Thomas Bridges says that uncertainty has at least been eased, but he says wider concerns remain.
It's unclear how that relates to this administration's economic objectives. And I'm not entirely clear what their economic objectives are. It seems to be just more isolationist, but I think that will end up yielding a more constrained economy.
Trump says the tariffs will raise revenue and create jobs in the US. But economists widely predict they will raise prices and cast a chill over global growth. Such worries have seen money flow into traditional safe havens. On Thursday, gold hit fresh record highs above $3,160 per ounce, while government bonds and the Japanese yen also saw gains.
They are a key ingredient in a beloved US cuisine, but are about to become more expensive. Australian beef farmers, traders and industry groups said on Thursday they would pass on the extra costs of 10% US tariffs to the American consumer.
They are completely reliant on our grass-fed beef.
With their product prized by US fast food chains, Cattle Australia chair Gary Edwards says hungry customers will feel the impact.
It's simply going to push up the price of food. And that's really not a win for anyone. It's an inflationary impact, and I can't imagine that the American consumer is going to like paying more for their burgers or their steaks over the foreseeable future.
With an identical tariff applied to fellow market competitors, livestock agent Dougal McDowell doesn't see the logic.
So if we're all at 10%, it really doesn't change anything. What it does make, however, the commodity that's going into America a lot dearer for their own consumers.
US fast food chains use Australian beef for its lower fat content. It is then combined with fattier US beef to produce hamburgers with the ideal fat content. Australia exports $2.52 billion of beef annually to the United States, its largest market, but has banned fresh US beef since 2003 due to the detection of mad cow disease in US cattle. That drew the ire of Trump, who said Australia won't take any of our beef, as he announced tariffs on the country. Edwards says there would be no compromise on Australia's biosecurity laws.
They have market access already to Australia. They have simply chosen not to meet the compliance requirements.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said on Thursday the government would provide support to industries impacted by the US tariffs to sell into alternative markets, something graziers like James Fitzpatrick in the cattle yard want to see.
There's a worldwide market out there. Why are we focusing just on the one market?
After a powerful earthquake rocked Myanmar on Friday and killed over 2,800, China's rapidly deployed relief workers have made an impact. Social media videos are circulating of the orange and blue responders pulling survivors from the devastation, often accompanied with messages of gratitude. Beijing has also pledged almost $14 million worth of aid supplies, and these relief efforts have improved China's image in Myanmar, which had suffered due to its support of the unpopular military junta. In comparison, the US, which was until recently the world's top humanitarian donor, has offered a relatively modest $2 million. It's pledged to send a 3-member assessments team, though said their arrival has been delayed by visa issues. In past years, when tsunamis, earthquakes and other disasters struck around the world, the US had regularly and rapidly deployed skilled rescue workers to save lives. However, President Donald Trump has made efforts to slash the size of the government in a bid to end wasteful spending, and both current and former US officials say these cuts have hobbled the country's ability to act during disasters.
The USAID is really corrupt.
Trump has also moved to fire nearly all US Agency for International Development staff who oversee Washington's disaster response efforts overseas. Marcia Wong, a former top USAID official, said there is now an international loss of confidence in the US.
The erosion of trust that can occur when we're not projecting a presence and assistance and diplomacy, it does allow other actors to step in. Now, whether these actors will be as principled, or responsible, or accountable, I don't know, but we have created a vacuum, which can allow other actors to step in.
The quake may have also strengthened the junta chief's international standing. Washington had retained influence, especially in opposition to the junta, through humanitarian aid and funds for the democracy movement. The recent Trump-directed cuts, however, have largely erased both. The State Department, which administers the remaining USAID programs, did not immediately return a request for comment. The junta and China's foreign ministry also did not respond to questions.
The unilateral action that the Trump administration has taken today against every nation in the world does not come as a surprise. For Australia, these tariffs are not unexpected, but let me be clear, they are totally unwarranted. President Trump referred to reciprocal tariffs. A reciprocal tariff would be 0, not 10%. The administration's tariffs have no basis in logic, and they go against the basis of our two nations partnership. This is not the act of a friend. Today's decision will add to uncertainty in the global economy, and it will push up costs for American households. This is why our government will not be seeking to impose reciprocal tariffs. We will not join a race to the bottom that leads to higher prices and slower growth. We will stand up for Australia. We will continue to make the strongest case for these unjustified tariffs to be removed from our exporters.
Yes, but the USA shall not take over Greenland. Greenland belongs to the Greenlanders, and the USA shall not take over Greenland. And that is, of course, also the message that we will be saying together as a group in the next few days. It is our unity, and regardless of what discussions we may have down the road about our Commonwealth and the Greenlandic-Danish relationship, it is clear that with the pressure from the Americans on Greenland in relation to sovereignty, and in relation to borders, and in relation to the future, we must stand together. I think we have done the job well so far, but it is clear that we need to batten down the hatches even more.
Facebook parent Meta Platforms is beefing up its social media sites by signing a multi-year partnership with UFC. The deal, announced Wednesday, makes Meta the first official fan technology partner of UFC, whose CEO was elected to Meta's board in January. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, a mixed martial arts enthusiast and recreational fighter, has in recent years developed a relationship with UFC chief executive Dana White. White, along with two others, was elected to Meta's board in January. White is also a friend of President Donald Trump and spoke in support of his candidacy at the Republican National Convention in July. UFC, in a statement, said Meta will provide fans a deeper, immersive experience through its services, with its text-based platform Threads becoming the league's official social media partner. Meta will have its branding featured in UFC's Octagon Ring for pay-per-view and fight night events, along with other broadcast features. Financial terms of the deal were not disclosed.